Test. Checking the mic.
Check. Check that stick.
We should do a whole podcast with our old school radio voices.
I don't think I could.
You don't think so?
Could you do it? Could you? Every once in a while, I would do the sports that way.
Mm-hmm.
On the locker room, I go, "Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in." Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I would do that, and people would literally, the phones would start ringing, and they were like, "You need to stop that immediately." And it's funny because there's still guys out there on terrestrial radio that sound like that.
Talk like this all the time.
Hey,
how you doing?
I met one guy where he talked like that for so long.
Ronnie Radio? That's what we used to call him, Ronnie Radio.
Ronnie Radio, yeah.
Nice to see you. Hey.
You'd meet him in the hallways and he'd be like, "Hey."
You know what? I used to love those guys that had that radio voice back in the day. They was like totally fake radio voice, and they'd get off the air. They'd be like, if that's it for me at 9 o'clock, I'll see you tomorrow. And then they get off the air and they
"Hey,
go,
Diener!
That was a great show. Thanks, guys. That was a lot of fun. That was good. That was great.
That's got to be a lot of effort. Like,
I think so.
Like if you're pulling that voice all day, where's that come from? Is that core? Is that
fantasy
core
land? No, it just comes from the poison
right from
part of their
guts.
brains.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where it comes from. A place of deep emotional insecurity. That's where that shit comes from. Anyway, good to see a lot.
We need a bell. I need a bell in here. When you make a point,
at
I ring
Cross on Twitter is where you can find him. Of course, now his new home here at Crier Media. We got lots of stuff to get to. We got this crazy, insane royal affair, pregnancy, murder for hire story, which is fucking awesome to watch. We're going to talk a little bit about costumes, political costumes today. That's going to be fun. We'll get to that. Skip Bayless had an all-time tweet. Maybe we'll get to that. But I want to open the show with something that you love. Like I want to cater to you a little bit more instead of my needs. So we're talking beer today, right? We're going to open up the show with a beer conversation.
Beer makes you smarter.
Well, I don't know if it does, but it certainly makes you more brave, and it's delicious and fearless sometimes too, depending on what you do. Big beer drinker, but you are a big proponent of celebrating, and Edmonton has this amazing craft beer community.
Alberta
craft
does.
Beer industry. Alberta, the entire a lot of people don't know this.
No.
The craft beer capital of Canada resides in Alberta, correct?
Well, yeah, and we have a guest that is very closely tied to the reason why that has actually been. That's a thing. Now, and maybe Mark can talk to it a little bit more, but I believe it was the industry was at a certain point.
Yeah. And
governments opened up the opportunities, I guess, business-wise, allowed smaller companies to be more profitable just based on some of the rule changes and whatnot. And it exploded in Alberta. And if you live here, even like I'm a long time, like pretty boring beer drinker, but I'd say in the last 5-10 years, just based on how popular it is, you start to explore, right? Yeah. So you go to a restaurant, you'll have a local beer, you'll hear somebody talking about one of their favorites, you'll try it. I'm kind of an IPA guy.
So yeah, we came from a time where we didn't really have a choice, so too, right? Like, and so like when you see these new fancy fruity IPAs, stouts, coffee stouts, you see all these beautiful new drinks,
all these
like,
cool new
you go, oh my god, it's not blue or OV. Yeah, let me taste that. And you're like, oh my god, where's this been? Why are we just
blue
doing this
or OV?
now?
You're showing your Ontario roots.
Pill, OV. Nothing wrong with mass-produced, genetically modified beer. However, craft beer specialists in Alberta owe a debt of gratitude to our guest. We're going to chat with him in just a second.
Absolutely.
And I want to chat with him as well about the beer tax fiasco. You narrowly missed paying an extra back-breaking 8 cents a case for
Here's the
beer,
thing. You know what?
Gentlemen.
Honestly, I love all these notes that people want to send me on Twitter and Facebook about the increase in taxes.
Yeah.
And they're going, it's only 12 cents a week. But the thing is that
they're cheering
every
for more
year,
taxes for them too.
We keep getting pounded and pounded, and everybody wants to point out that the Liberals are only increasing it so much. But what happens? Every couple of months, we get a new increase. And then you go back 5 years later, we'll look back and we'll go, hold on, why are we all desperately poor? Well, it's because every week there's a new tax.
Yeah.
And everyone just goes, well, it's only 12 cents. And you know what? PP, he's meaner. Like, I mean, listen, we are one of the most overtaxed countries in the world.
Yeah.
In the world. There's like 50% plus tax on half the stuff that we buy, right? Mm-hmm. All of these major companies are in the pockets of government. Mm-hmm. And I'm sick and tired of having these conversations. It's only going to cost you an extra $4. Yeah, but when you start adding it all up, and what did I say last week on the podcast?
When you start adding
what they should be listening to me.
It's like 15. Yeah, but they should listen to you. And listen.
And they did.
Great point. You bring up a great point. A little heated about the whole thing, but you bring up a great point. You got a bunch of right fighters out there going, it's not a lot of extra tax. And you're like, yeah, but it's still an extra tax.
It's constant.
I don't drink beer, but I want to break down the beer tax fiasco. Thank God the government headed off the really almost a little expensive beer tax at the border the other day, where they clawed it back an extra couple percent, froze the beer tax. To your point, it might have been your idea.
I said it last week. They should go on and just say, stop it, and people will vote for them.
Yeah, well, that was and you said it just like that, so I'm sure they listened. But I want to bring in a gentleman who knows a lot about the tax, knows a lot about Alberta's incredible craft beer industry. He is the founder director of the Alberta Beer Festivals.com, including the Edmonton Craft Beer Fest. Please welcome to the program, Mr. Mark Kondrat. Am I saying your name right, Mark? Mark Kondrat, is that right? Yeah,
that is correct.
Yeah, gotcha.
Nice Polish name there.
Yeah, you a Polish guy? You a little Polish?
Well, I come from a line of Polacks and a few English people, but don't hold that against me. Yeah.
Dude, I'm English, and I've got lots of Polish friends, and so I think
apparently
that so far you're
Pole
2 for 2 genetically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any Pole in you? Is that why you? Yeah. Not at the moment. Anyway, good to see you, Mark. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, we're just having a laugh. You're a big mover and a shaker in the Alberta craft beer industry. You obviously, are a festival guy. I want to get to some festival stuff, but let's just calm Lochlin down or jack him up again. I don't really care. Your thoughts on the freezing and the clawing back of the 4.7% tax, 4.7% tax. Excise tax that was supposed to go up on all your beer, being, I think, limited at 2.3% in the tax. Your thoughts? You're going to vote for Trudeau now? Yes.
No comment on that. But my thoughts on the tax are, I hate to admit that Lochlin made a good point, but a lot of people say, well, it's only X amount. It's a small amount, but I feel like, talking to a lot of the people behind the scenes in the beer industry over the weekend, it's just one of those death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing. It's just if you look at every single one of their inputs, talking to the people in the barley world, over the last couple of years, they've had some kind of what they would call like perfect storms in terms of what the crops have looked like and their input. So barley's more expensive, cans are more expensive, staffing is more expensive. And so when you put on all the inputs and then there's just every year this without even talking to people, just an increase in taxes, it's sometimes seems insignificant. It's like, well, it's only a penny here, a penny there. But like I said, it's a death by 1,000 cuts. And so, something's got to give eventually. And that's kind of where the industry is at, is, people are looking at it and going, is it worth continuing? And that's a sad reality of it.
So what do you mean, like worth continuing if the excise tax continues to go up? Are the margins that bad? Or is it just like, hey, this is just another tax on top of another tax, and then the excise tax goes up with inflation and that sliding scale? Like, does it make that much of a difference? 4.7%. And these are just honest questions because I don't know. I really don't.
it's just something's got to give eventually, right? And then you think about like, goes up with inflation, and we've been dealing with crazy inflation. So just inflation in and of itself is an issue for them. So to have a tax that's like indexed to inflation
Mhm.
is like almost like insult to injury in a way, right? So I've always been a small business owner, and when I talk to these people, I'm going in thinking like, okay, what are they paying per square foot? What are they paying? They have oftentimes huge facilities. Like the tasting room is the smallest chunk of their facility. Like they have such a big staff just to make what they do. We're making world-class product in Alberta, and that's not easy, right? It takes a big team. So there's so many different variables, and to just kind of have, taxes, piled on year after year, without, like, I mean, I guess we have to give them credit because this year, they did claw it back, but usually it's just increased without even talking to people. So yeah, I look at it like I'm a small business owner. All of these people, we've been doing festivals for over 20 years. And so in the craft beer industry in Alberta, these people, we met them when they opened up their breweries, and we've kind of seen their journeys. They've
Mhm.
become close friends, and they're small business owners that are struggling like anyone else, whether you're a restaurateur,
Yeah.
kind of what have you. So yeah,
Mhm.
we need to kind of give them as many breaks as they can so they can get through this.
Mm.
I have a question about the health of the craft beer market in Alberta, comparatively
Mhm.
speaking to the rest of the country. I'm not wrong, am I, Mark, in suggesting that Alberta has one of the healthier, more robust industries in that arena?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like, if you look at Alberta as a, speaking in generalities, I guess, we're a fairly entrepreneurial province. And so, I think people are really good at looking at, okay, what are the challenges and what are the opportunities, and really kind of changing their model when needed to kind of match that. And so I think we are robust, but I think as a result, then all of a sudden it's, you almost take advantage of that. You almost assume that, okay, well, they can handle more. And that's all I'm saying is there's got to be a point at which, with the straw that breaks the camel's back kind of thing. So
It's
we're
coming.
still seeing some growth, but we've seen some close as well. Like I just did a podcast with my friend Graham Sherman with Toolshed, and they had to do a major restructuring just to kind of stay afloat. And luckily, Graham, I think to some degree got ahead of it, and so they were able to restructure, and I think they'll still stay strong. But yeah, a lot of them are in the same boat where they're they're looking at it closely. So we have to
Toolshed's
okay.
take it
marketing
seriously.
is awesome, by the way. Just to bring
Toolshed
up,
beer. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're very
Yeah, they're
creative
cool.
on that front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, he's
it's
great.
a healthy industry, and I understand the economy of it, but when you talk about restructuring, and I think coming out of the pandemic, obviously, with beer delivery, you saw a lot of ingenuity with people where they were trying to get people different, taster packs, tester packs. I thought that was
Yeah.
really cool. And the diversification in your industry has been awesome to watch too. But I go back to what it costs to do business, and when they're lumping on taxes, you talk about death
Mhm.
by a thousand cuts. How does that beer tax, and how would it affect the average, let's say, profitable craft brewery? What are the pain points of the excise tax right now? Like when you
Um,
talk to people, you're at a festival a couple weekends ago,
yeah.
what, in Edmonton or Calgary, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken?
we did our Edmonton one last weekend. So
Yeah.
talking to a couple of them, and I think to your guys' point before, you're not wrong in that it equates to maybe a penny per can kind of thing, but you know you mentioned COVID, which I think we're all tired of talking about COVID, but the thing about that is
No,
a lot of these,
I would like to light up another 2-3 years of those
yeah,
conversations. Yeah.
but exactly, the thing is a lot of these breweries were brand new. And you don't put world pandemic in your business plan, right? And so they were up, even the ones that have been around for a while were only around for, say, a lot of them were only around for 2-3 years, and then all of a sudden this pandemic started. So the creativity that they showed, they started doing home deliveries, stuff like that. The creativity was amazing, and so they were able to survive. But we're only just getting out of that, and so to continue to pile on to a problem that they're still trying to dig out of, that's where it becomes dangerous. And so, I think a lot of people just look at a business owner and they think, oh, well, they must be rich. And the fact of the matter is, most of these people are doing it first and foremost as a passion project, and they're learning how to make money, hopefully. But it's something that they've been thrown a lot of crap their way. Like you said, the pandemic being probably the biggest of everything. And so, yeah, we really have to, do everything we can to make it as easy as possible, because God forbid, they actually make money. Like that's the biggest thing I think in business is, you go from this struggling entrepreneur, and then you're immediately, if you start making money, you're a greedy businessman. And I'm like, wow, there needs to be a middle area where we celebrate.
That's a Canadian thing.
And
we do not.
Money.
We do not like people when they make money. We do this with our bands too, our artists. We love them when they're driving into the city. They can't find
you got to go support this band. You got to go support this business. And then when they become big, you're like, sellouts.
Yeah. That's a Canadian thing. I don't know why. Hey, listen, let's talk a little bit about the festival circuit that you started years ago. And Mark, you and I have known each other for a long, long time.
Yeah, I want before you get to the festival stuff, I also would like a count of how many festivals you had to remove Lochlin from, just at the end of the conversation.
Oh no, we've never actually officially invited him to any. Yeah.
Sorry,
that's probably a good idea. Yeah. I've been at a few of yours with the little guy, and I do believe we were asked to leave one.
Actually, didn't he marry? Didn't he marry one of your friends? One of your coworkers one year? One of your coworkers got married at one of our festivals.
And was he dressed up as Elvis?
That's correct.
Yeah. I think it was I don't know if it was necessarily a very official. I think it might have. Anyway, we can move on.
Yeah.
So how many, like when you first started, do you have sort of a starting point of the number of breweries that would take part in your festival to where you are now? I know that every time you come to Edmonton, it's bigger and attendance goes up every year. But can you give us a sense of that growth over the last 20 years, Mark?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first one that we ever held was in 2025. So me and my one business partner, we've been working together since the early 2000s. We did a few different festivals. We landed on doing beer festivals in 2004 and did our first one in 2005. So we would have had, 15 breweries, but that would have included agencies that were bringing beers from around the world. So when we started, we called our first one the Calgary International Beer Fest. So that was, certainly the biggest one in Alberta. But yeah, we were looking at probably 6 or 7, local Alberta based breweries. And then the rest would have been, agencies bringing beers in from around the world to maybe get us to 20 breweries kind of thing. And then this year, in Edmonton, we probably had, well over 150 represented. And in Calgary, we'll probably have, almost 200. So it's definitely grown. And then the number of restaurants we have, we had 25 restaurants, I want to say, in Edmonton, and we'll probably have 40 plus. So the culture of Alberta beer is strong for sure. There's a lot of, really, really good breweries. And I should say, when I look at, say 200 breweries, half of those are going to be local Alberta breweries and distilleries. So the landscape has changed a lot. And so a lot more local production, which is awesome. We get to share the story of local entrepreneurs and And so that's been a lot of fun to kind of see where we started and how the industry has evolved, because really our role in the industry is only to sort of show what the industry is. So when you come to our festivals, we look at it more as like a snapshot of what the industry looks like, as opposed to saying, here's what the industry should look like, you know? So when we, you know, watching the industry evolve, our festivals have just been a reflection of that. So it's been a fun ride for sure.
Well, I think you're also part of it. You're being very modest. I
Humble?
think.
Is he a humble guy?
Yeah.
Mark is a humble guy. It's a humble English Polak is what he is.
That's right. But no, but I mean, like I said, I've always been an entrepreneur, and like, honestly, like, just becoming, you know, good friends with a lot of these people and watching them, you know, build their breweries to what they are now. You know, like one group, Bandit Peak here in Calgary, you know, just before COVID, they sold to Labatt. So, you know, a lot of people talk negatively about that sort of thing. To me, it's such a positive reflection on what our industry is, to think that big breweries like Labatt are willing to spend a ton of money on breweries that are, you know, based in Alberta, means that we're doing something right, and that we're getting people's attention. So I see that as a positive.
Well, you care, right? I mean, that's what the craft beer industry is all about. It's in the actual title, craft beer. It's like someone has crafted it and they have cared for it. And you are one of the mavens of the beer industry out in Alberta, albertabeerfestivals.com. You can go there and check it out. You can have a look at the pictures from the Edmonton Craft Beer Festival. You can also check out some of the other festivals as well. I think it was February 28th? No, that's when you posted the last thing. But you've got everything here. All the festivals, Banff Festival, Calgary Beer Fest, Edmonton. So you got, and even Revelstoke branching out into BC. Attaboy. Good for you.
Well, we figured, you know, Revelstoke, if you ever go to Revelstoke, it's full of people from Alberta. That's kind of like the last stop on the way
to my grandma's house when I was a kid. It was like Golden, Revelstoke, right? Sycamore, exactly. You go through that area, but Revelstoke was like one of those areas where it's like, I'm pretty sure everybody is here on a witness relocation program.
Draft Dodgers, yes, and yes, on some level hiding from the law.
Yeah. And maybe we were not watching even just from Canada, right? Yeah, they might have from all over the place.
Yeah. We were watching a hockey game at the Revy Festival last year. It was Vancouver versus Calgary, and when Calgary scored, the whole place like went crazy. So it tells you how many Albertans are there versus BC people. So Revelstoke is, you know, it's a place that I love to go skiing. So when they approached us to say, hey, do you want to do a festival here? It seemed like a pretty easy decision.
I know Dean wants to get into a project of yours, a business thing that you've been working on while you're not planning these festivals.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of dudes that are like, you know, in charge of beer for a whole country who are actually interested in wellness. And you can see my friend Mark is a fairly healthy guy.
Before we get that, I want to put him on the hot seat. I want to put him on the hot seat. Okay.
You do whatever you want.
All right. This is a beer question, Mark. Okay.
Keep in mind, I'm not a beer nerd. I'm a beer enthusiast.
Okay, all right. Me too.
You got to get touchy about that. You guys both get touchy about that. You call you beer nerds. It's okay. You guys are beer nerd enthusiasts.
Okay, so Mark, can you listen? You don't have to name your favorites because I know you deal with all these companies, but give me 3 beers I need to try.
3 beers you need to try,
even if it's just the company.
Yeah, but you don't stay away from like his preferences. He likes a nice IPA. He's a big like Coors Light kind of Bud Light guy.
I'm not I'm not Coors Light.
Beer world.
We'll get to the macro. We'll get to the macro beer. All right. What?
Yeah.
3 beers I need to try.
Well, you're in Edmonton, right? So and I'm just you're putting me on the spot here, but I would say everybody needs to. There used to be a Kellogg's Cornflakes commercial that said try it again for the first time. So I would do that with Alley Cat. What they've been doing in the last couple of years has been really, really awesome. Just kind of a reinvention of themselves, but at the same time keeping.
They're one of the OGs, right?
Big time, yeah. So Neil sold a few years ago, and the company has really stayed true to the roots, but at the same time really kind of evolve. So they're exciting. They're cool in Edmonton. When I was there when I was there a while ago, I was asking people like, what's a brewery that I should go visit? Irrational came up a lot. So that's on 124th Street. Really cool. And then what Monolith is doing, so Blind Enthusiasm, sorry. So
Blind.
they own the Biera and Ritchie Market, and then they own the Monolith that's just off 99th Street. But the Monolith is like, it's kind of an open fermentation type model. And so they're doing, beer that's not very common in Alberta or Canada. They're making some of the most unique beers. And
are they the guys that like throw like a chocolate cake into a big vat and is that's
Cold Garden? So if you're ever in Calgary, come.
It's serious. I thought you were joking.
No.
Well, Cold Garden has one called they have a cake one now. I'm blanking on the name, but yeah, like there's so many. And that's what I love about it. You think, well, there's only 4 main ingredients to beer. Surely everything's been done. And then you go to a brewery and it's like, okay, they're still coming up with, creative new ways of making beer. So
yeah, dude, I was at a poker thing this weekend, and I mocked a buddy of mine like vociferously because he had a caramel flavored beer, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he goes, you don't drink anymore. That doesn't mean that things haven't changed in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
So
that's
suck
a
it.
Nice way of saying cork it, Dean.
Yeah.
And then he went out onto the balcony.
And then I had a sip, and I'm like,
a blunt.
I did. But then I had a sip, and I'm like, oh, it's really good. Yeah, it's really good. And it's because we come from that time where we had 3 television channels and 2 flavors of beer, right?
Totally.
That's the time that I come from. That's the time Lochlin comes from. And then you see all these beautiful craft beers people are making with a hint of this. That might have lemongrass, maybe a little strawberry. This one's sour. And I'm like, what happened? Because I never drank beer back in the day because it was one of those things. It's like, I need like 40 of them to feel great.
Come back to the dark side. Come back to the dark side, Dean.
But, Dean, I will say, like, a lot of the craft brewers are making, really approachable Pilsners and lagers now. And so you have these really creative, unique beers. But, a lot of them are, I used to do a trip to Montana to a hockey tournament every year with a bunch of brewers. And, let's say that was 10 years ago. And the brewers would be drinking like Keystone Light in the dressing room because they wouldn't even drink their own beer after a game. And which I always thought was odd. It's like, well, no one wants a double IPA.
A bunch of brewers in a hockey change room.
Yeah.
So, but now, they've all, not all of them, but a lot of them are making, the approachable, like I said, lagers and pilsners that, you can have after you're done mowing your lawn, or don't take that the wrong way. Or you're done, playing hockey or going for a
How
bike
close
ride
do you
or
live to
whatever.
Lachlan's house, by the way?
Yeah. What's
close.
that?
How close do you live to Lachlan's?
No, not very far. It's like in-laws. You gotta maintain a healthy distance.
So here's my next question, follow-up question. Thank you for the 3 suggestions to check out local.
I already have a promotional idea, so we'll get to that when you're done doing whatever you do.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now, hey, what's your go-to macro beer, Mark?
So my go-to macro beer, I'll get beat up for.
You're going to say Bud Light, aren't you? And then we're going to have to talk about trans people and Trudeau and Kid Rock.
One of the things that I always liked Coors Light over Bud Light, and I think it's just because I find Coors Light to be like more carbonated, but I attach it to a memory. I remember when I was in university, I used to landscape for the summers, and I just remember one day we were, it was probably a 15-hour day, and it was plus 30, and it was incredibly hot. And the owner of the house that we were at, he brought this bucket of Coors Light, and they were ice cold, like literally just crystallizing. And I just remember just chugging my first one. And so, I always think that beer is attached to memories. And so for me, I was always partial to Coors Light because that just, it was very generous of him to bring, nice cold beer to the help, but it was also just exactly what I needed at the time. So if I say what's my favorite macro, I'll go with Coors Light for that reason.
I have a similar memory, but mine was I was 12.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom said that my first beer I ever had, I told her that dad was home and he wanted a beer. He was in the garage and we just brought it to the garage and chugged it. My dad wasn't home. So I was also started lying at a young age, apparently.
Yeah, I love the
Nice.
attachment alcohol has to memories. I've got a few vodka memories. I've got a couple of tequila memories,
few.
which is why I don't drink anymore. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
And when I say I don't drink anymore, I finally understand the purpose of drinking, so I will drink. Like I'll enjoy a nice tasting beverage or maybe a cocktail, and I'll have one of those. And I never said to my girlfriend, we were out for dinner a couple of weeks ago, and I had an old fashioned, and she's like, "How is it?" I go, "Yeah." So I finally get the point of drinking. It tastes delicious.
You stop chugging and now you just drink.
Well,
Yeah.
some of
I
us
just
have.
sip it because I enjoy the flavor. Mark Kondrat, really appreciate you being here today. Mark is the founder of maybe one of the longest running, if not the longest running beer festival in Edmonton. He is Mr. Beer Festival. You can go and check everything he has at albertabeerfestivals.com. Promotional idea before I let you go. Promotional idea. Okay. We use Lochlin to feature some of Alberta's best craft beer on this show and through our socials. And he takes everybody on a tour of the beautiful business and industry of craft beer and the people who actually care about making these products, and they care about the people of Alberta and want to share them with the world. That's my promotional idea. What do you think?
I love it. I'm actually going to be in Edmonton in May to do that with, there's a Culinary Federation conference. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring, so all these people are coming from across Canada, and we're going to bring them to all, probably 4 or 5 different breweries in Edmonton, and just kind of show them what beer in Alberta looks like. You think about it, we produce the best barley in the world, and I say that because there's distilleries from Japan sourcing it from Alberta. There's breweries from all over North America sourcing it from Alberta. So there's no reason why Alberta shouldn't be known as the best beer, the best beer producers in the world, because I think we really are.
Yeah, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be featuring that domestic product and using all of your oil too. I firmly believe that. I'm a big oil and gas guy.
Well, if we're going to use it.
Yeah. Well, I would like to use it. I'm tired of shipping it in. If it's just under the dirt and it's here, let's use it.
Might want to have a quick little chat with Quebec about that.
Yeah. I don't like talking to them. Anyway, the last thing I'll ask you, you've got a new project. You don't run into a lot of guys that are like, when I met you today at Beer Festival, Mark, I expect you to be much more out of shape than you are, but wellness is a big deal to you. Tell me a little bit about it. Your this new app that you're creating.
Yeah, so it's called Explore 84, and really I built it originally just kind of selfishly because I knew about 10 years ago that if I was going to continue in the industry, that I needed to do something to really take care of my own health. So it started out physically, challenging myself every day to do something, like running every day. And just as I chatted with people, I realized there needed to be a mental component to that. So we talk a lot about mental health. And just how do you address your mental health on a daily basis? And then I had a friend who was on a cancer journey, and we would have a lot of conversations about spiritual health. And so really what I would do is I would just kind of had a spreadsheet that checked off, how am I addressing my health on a daily basis from a physical, mental, and a spiritual perspective. And I had a friend who is a doctor, chiropractor, and he was asking me about it because he wanted something like that for his clients. And so we decided to kind of turn what I had as kind of a personal project into an app so that we could share it. So we've been working on that for 2 years now, and we're just going into beta, and it'll be ready in May. So, I want to be in this industry for a long time. And I know that for me to do that, I need to take care of myself. And like I said before, I've become really good friends with a lot of people behind the scenes in the industry. And if I can do something or give them something to kind of help them maintain their health, because I know there's a lot of stresses out there, then hopefully this is a platform that'll help them kind of keep healthy and, stay with us, stay in the industry for as long as possible. Cause it's like a lot of other industries. There's a lot of burnout, people get to the point so if we can just give people tools to address their health on a daily basis, and through my podcasting and through just sitting down with people, also just normalizing the idea of talking about mental health and the struggles that we're going through, because as you guys probably know, sometimes you find out that people are struggling when it's too late, right? So we just want to make sure that people understand that it's like physical health. We're not afraid to say, oh man, I'm out of shape, I need to start lifting weights, or I need to start running. We can easily talk about that, whereas like mental health, sometimes people, they don't want to. They want to kind of put up that facade that they're strong. And I just think, like, screw it, just, hey man, if you're struggling, let's talk about it. Let's get you the help that you need. And I just think, addressing your health in those 3 areas on a daily basis just, helps you become a better, whether it's a boss, employee,
husband, father, brother,
all those things. So it's been helpful to me. And I knew that, like I said, I knew 10 years ago that something had to give. And I was either going to be, kind of continue down on the trajectory or start my way up. So I decided to start my way up. And yeah, if it's something that can help other people, it's I'm pretty proud of what the app has become and what the community is. And to be honest with you, we built one app and I looked at it and I said, that's kind of a piece of shit. And so we rebuilt it. So that's why, hence it's been 2 years instead of 1 year. But it's like anything we do, I want to make sure that it's done properly and that it's something that I'm proud to put my name behind.
Good for you. I mean,
Mark.
yeah, there aren't
That's
a lot
awesome.
of people that are really interested in helping people with their spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being. And
Well, just talk to my wife and she'll say that I continue to need the help on a daily basis. And that's why I address it on a daily basis. Cause just when I think I'm getting it dialed in, I'm like, oops, there was a setback.
Wow, dude, but that's all of us, right? Like, I think it doesn't matter. I don't know how old you are. You're probably close to the same vintage as myself, probably way younger than Lachlan Cross, which is a gimme. But there are things that we don't talk about, and we don't talk about them for a reason, because we want people to believe in us. We're business people. We are, in some cases, influencers in different businesses and industries. And we get this thought in our head, like, what if someone finds out how much I'm struggling, or how sad I am, or what I'm dealing with, or my worry, or my stress? And, it's the vulnerability portion of being able to share that journey and tools with people at the same time is the solution, right? There are so many people that walk around wondering if, does that guy feel like I feel? Like, I'm watching that guy walk around. Does he feel as miserable as me? He looks like he's smiling. In the business, the gig economy that you're in, you're subject to things, all kinds of things you can't control.
Stressful.
It's live or die, eat or be eaten.
Totally.
And in the big scheme of things, I think that's really kind of what we all look for, right? We all look for an opportunity to be able to share stories with people and say, hey, listen, I'm feeling like this. Is it weird? And when you hear the word no, I feel like that too. Or someone comes along and says, hey, listen, I feel insecure. I feel sad. I feel depressed. I feel lonely. I feel angry. I'm going through these things because I'm unwell, physically, mentally, emotionally. Then that becomes this incredible, courageous journey where people can look at you and go, hey, it's okay, man. I'm just like you. It's all right. There's answers. Come with me and find those answers. So I'm excited to see this project that you have.
Yeah. And I mean,
we should have you back when you launch it, Mark.
What's that? Yes, I would love that. Yeah. No, it's definitely something I'm passionate about. So, and I agree with you, Dean. Like, and usually, if you're looking at someone going like, I wonder if they're feeling the same thing I'm feeling, the chances are the answer is yes, right? I mean, we're all human, so how the heck, how would we not be feeling that, right? So,
the answer is 100%. Yeah.
Totally.
Everybody goes through the same thing, right? Everybody goes through questions in their minds, times of a lack of confidence where someone changes your trajectory, you get overwhelmed and bunged up and busy, and you don't have an outlet. You're not taking care of yourself physically. You're not offloading stuff mentally and emotionally, all that stuff. You're not drinking enough beer in Lachlan's case. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that people bottom out.
Yeah, I do. I've said this out loud to friends of mine when I'm counseling them. I've said,
unsolicited.
Yeah. Quite often what'll end up happening is you're involved in, like, I don't know, a situation at a work function or whatever, and you leave going, oh my God, Everybody must think I'm an idiot. And I remember saying to a really close friend of mine, I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Yes, what you did last night was completely ridiculous. And I'm going to make fun of you probably until the end of time. But everybody that was there also got in the car and they were thinking about what they had done and how everybody was viewing them. So it's an interesting dynamic. Yet we get caught up in our own world quite often. And you're right, Mark, in that everybody's kind of going through the same shit, right? I'm still a proponent of drinking and pressing down all your feelings. Really, and never dealing with
into
them.
This nuclear ball in your chest where one day the wrong guy comes to your door and you answer it and you beat the shit out of him for no good reason.
Yeah.
That's the mental and spiritual plan.
That's just a random thing Dean's bringing up. I haven't done that
yet.
Yeah. See, I know you're lying because you have yoga mats behind you, so you have to you take it out on the mat.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Listen, Mark, appreciate you. Thanks for coming.
Brother.
AlbertaBeerFestivals.com is where you can check out Mark's work. Lots of different beer festivals in your area. Craft beer in Alberta is great. We're going to be in touch with you about doing a carousel ride of craft beer from Alberta with Lochlin. That's what we're going to do.
Deal. I'm going to invite Lochlin when I'm in Edmonton to do that one with the Culinary Federation.
Please do, Mark, and I'll roll some tape.
You can be like the Kramer that bring us on the bus tour across Edmonton.
I'm all over that. I got lots of time on my hands right now.
Yeah. You could be the Kramer bus tour of the real Seinfeld tour.
Our first festival pre-Beer Fest was called Festivus. So
was it?
I'm all about the
Seinfeld
references. Yeah.
Love it.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Great to meet you, Mark. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, Mark.
Mark Kondrat, AlbertaBeerFestivals.com. There's a good dude.
I really like Mark.
Thanks for introducing me to him.
Well, and again, very, very modest, very humble guy, but a big part of the success of the craft beer market in this province. I mean, he's a big part of it, right? And the growth of it, because he provided these parties and these celebrations around the success of it, right?
Absolutely. Celebrating local business, local breweries. We've got a crazy royal affair death pegging story to get to in just a second. But Lochlin, it is time for the Locker Room Retro Replay of the day. What do we have today, sir?
Well, this is we used to do these things called, this one is
the Locker Retro Replay.
I'll let it go.
Got a funny story. This one, you guys always enjoy these sort of interactions with my wife, so
this will be good.
I saved them for you. So a buddy of mine calls me, and we're on the phone, and we're chatting, and I was up in the main room. My wife was just sort of playing a game or something in the living room, listening.
Whatever she does.
Yeah. Ignoring me, trying to ignore me.
Yeah.
I get off the phone, and there's sort of a moment of quiet, and she says, "What was that about?" Because it was a pretty involved conversation.
You were getting pretty animated.
And I said, it's so-and-so, friend of mine, and he wants me to counsel his son.
Oh, no. He wants you to counsel his son.
Okay. So she says to me, she goes, "Whose idea was that? You're a horrible communicator. Why would they think that this is a good idea?" And then I'm kind of looking at her like, you realize I'm in the communications business,
My
right?
job is to communicate. So are you going to do it?
Of course I am. I'm going to save this poor kid's life.
Oh, no.
No, you're going to mess this kid up.
I feel sorry for him.
Whatever he did wrong, he's going to regret it.
Yeah. What did he do to be punished?
Listen, I have things I can share.
Oh, good.
I might actually help this kid. You guys can stuff it, both of you, and my wife. All of you guys are dicks.
All right,
there you go. That's nice. It's a little trip down memory lane in the locker room.
That actually ties into the conversation we were having.
Yeah, it does.
About getting advice from Lochlin.
I know. It's a terrible idea. I don't even know why someone actually called you to actually help their son.
Yeah.
Did you end up helping him? No.
I don't want to get into it. It did not go well.
way it was
That
supposed to.
relationship spiraled out of control, and it ended my relationship with that guy and his relationship with his kid. And
you know what? It's funny. I don't know about
shouldn't have got
you, but
involved.
I get these phone calls from time to time because I work with people that, want to quit drinking, want a better life.
Mhm.
So I'll get these phone calls from time to time from women, like out of nowhere. Can you help my son? Can you help my husband? I'm like, no, no, I can't. When what they're
Yeah.
really saying is, can you help me? But I had a phone call not long ago. This person was like, hey, can you help my son? And I'm like, I don't think that's a great idea. And they're like, why not? And I'm like, well, because he's 15. How about you parent? And they're like, I do parent. I'm like, well, clearly not. Clearly not if you want me to come and parent your 15-year-old. Well, you make sense to him. Well, then you should do more of what I do.
That's
They're like,
exactly the conversation I had with this guy.
Yeah,
And-
it
and
didn't go well.
It didn't go well. And it was I was one and done. I'll never do it again. And
Yeah.
it was a mistake.
It's anytime someone asks you to come in and fix their family, it's a terrible idea. It is an awful idea. I've had friends that have called me and said, can you come and talk to my child? And I'm like, absolutely not. You can take yourself and your child to a medical professional, a psychological professional who can help you mediate and help you figure all this stuff out. I am not qualified for it, but you help guys quit drinking. Yeah, because they want to and they want to come to me, right? And so I can help them because they want to. Your son does not want me to walk into a living room to mediate a fight between you and your kids. If you're a parent and you have to call somebody to come in and be a parent because you don't want to be a parent, you're a bad parent. Just letting you know. Quick aside.
And again, this was a conversation about something the individual was like, it was something his son was doing that he was not like was against, right?
Yeah.
I sat down with the kid and I'm like, hey, like, listen,
how old was the kid?
15.
15-year-old
like,
smoke pot.
I'm like, you know what? Maybe do a better job of hiding it from your old man, which is probably
It's
not.
not-
I'm going to sit down and have coffee and a sandwich with
tell him
this
not to
kid
do it?
and tell him
it's not your
to
job to
quit
parent him.
smoking
That's
pot.
my point.
He's not.
No.
He's going to continue
I
to
know.
smoke pot.
I know he is. I know he
Anyway.
is. I know he is. It's entitlement. I tell you what, it's parents.
Let's move on.
It's like, I'm entitled. I don't want to do it. You know what happens
Royal family.
when you raise children that are entitled? They become people that think they can do anything. Case in point, the royal family. Thank you very much, Lochlin. Are you paying attention
No.
to the story or the gossip around the royal family?
My wife asked me.
Holy shit, dude.
My wife asked me last night. She said, what's the deal with the picture? And I said, well, I think they photoshopped it or something, but I had like, that is as far as, and I looked at the picture and I'm like, well, why is everyone upset? Did they put one of the kids in that wasn't in before or something? Like,
well, because there's a massive story here that nobody's paying attention to. That's why everybody's upset. To your point, let me bring it up. You can go to crier.co and check out the actual story.
So this is a breakdown of why everyone's all wound up about this picture.
Yeah, correct. So, as you know, there have been numerous reports of Prince William. Remember last year they gave him the title, the Prince of Pegging. Said he was.
That
in a
was so much
relationship
fun.
It was the best, Prince of Pegging, because apparently the rumor was he was in a relationship with another royal or someone in the royal circle, having an affair. And these are, if you're a royal, you can't have an affair with commoners, right? You gotta have an affair with people in your familial circle. So he's banging his like fifth cousin, apparently. She's pegging him. And the rumor is, while that's going on, Kate
Should
is
we
having
explain
an affair.
pegging for anybody that
No, just Google it. Just Google it.
Pegging?
No, just Google it. I'm not explaining it.
Don't Google it at work.
No, Google it from like your best friend's computer too, or phone. Pegging videos. That's all you got to, or just go to Pornhub and look.
That rumor came out before the Queen died.
Yeah. That's why she died.
What I wanted, I would have paid for video of one of the aides trying to explain to Queen what pegging is. Well, I guess Prince William likes to have
An
somebody
apparatus
strap on.
fired up his backside, which is fine, right? If you're
Do
into it,
you?
good for you.
Do you, Prince?
So here's the deal. Apparently, while that affair, the pegging affair, has been going on, Kate has been canoodling, as they say, with apparently this guy. His name's Thomas Kingston, who was found dead with a massive head wound 2 weeks ago in his
Hold on.
condo. Yeah.
That's not that you're not making that up.
No.
That's real.
100%.
He's dead. Now, who is he? Who's this guy?
This guy is married to like one of those extension royals, someone who's got a royal title, but not really a royal. Don't know her name. Doesn't matter. Mrs. Kingston.
Okay.
But prior to that relationship, this gentleman, Thomas Kingston, was engaged to be married to Pippa Middleton. And that relationship, this is Kate's sister, that relationship went sour because there were rumors that this gentleman, this good-looking, dashing, dead dude, was sticking it to the sister, Kate, who's now not been seen for something like 37 days, which is part of the actual problem as well. Yes. Continue. Question before we continue. Question from
She's had surgery, though, right?
Well, 36 days ago, there was an announcement from Buckingham Palace. She was going to have minor abdominal surgery. She has not been seen in over a month and a half. That 2-week recovery period, according to Buckingham Palace, is now 9 months. No one's seen her. That hasn't stopped them and the royal family from legitimately posting photoshopped pictures that are unbelievable, which Buckingham Palace and Prince William and Princess Kate have admitted are photoshopped, like this bad boy, where you can overlay a picture of her at a funeral into the backseat of a car picture, which was created the other day. And then, of course, this picture, which was widely debunked, as you can see it in the actual title, as an old Vogue photo that they superimposed her head on, sitting around her kids to convince everybody Princess Kate was home. Everything is fine with the Windsors. Everything's good with the Prince and the Princess of Wales. But these rumors of this affair, and by the way, guess who's laughing? Harry and Meghan, who got out. Rumors of these affair come with a possible murder, a possible, and this is the other thing, people are saying that maybe Kate got pregnant by this guy and William went over and tried to figure him out, which is why he's dead. No one's seen anybody for like the last month and a half. They're all trying to cover it up all the time. All the while, Charles is apparently having some kind of cancer treatment. I mean, it's fairly serious.
Fairly serious allegations.
Totally. But, dude, the thing is, and this is why everybody's freaking out, is the royal family's been busy photoshopping pictures to try to convince everybody that she's fine. Why are they doing that? Like, hey, listen, of course the narrative is whatever it is. It could be pregnancy, could be an abortion. Maybe someone got murdered. Maybe he just died. I don't know many people that kill themselves with blunt force trauma to the head. It's hard to do, right? Really hard to do. So there are tons of rumors going around that this indeed is something untoward. And of course, Buckingham Palace and the Prince and the Princess of Wales are hiding something because they're photoshopping pictures with it fucking.
But they've always tried to control the narrative, though. Deep.
Totally. But this is beyond the pale, because if you know anything about the royal family, it's never complain, never explain. They've complained, and now they're explaining, and they're using excuses. One of them was Kate was like, "Hey, sometimes I mess around with Photoshop at home. No big deal." That's a big deal. That was a professional job that was edited twice last Friday on Adobe Photoshop. And by the way, Adobe stock went through the roof because it looked so convincing. Wild, huh?
Yeah, I will be honest with you. I
don't care. I didn't care either, and then I got sucked back into it with this shit.
This is intriguing, but I mean, as a whole, outside looking in, when I see a royal family story, that's why I couldn't explain it to my wife. I had zero concept of what was going on, but I saw the picture and I was like, they photoshopped it and they're mad that it was photoshopped and not real. And I don't know why, but now that you've explained it, it makes it more interesting, because you don't often get a story like that on every news channel. Like it was on every news channel last couple of days.
Dude, Colbert talked about it last night.
Yes. Like it's like So I knew there was more to it, but I didn't realize it was this.
Yeah, dude. It's
this
big.
Salacious.
It's
unbelievable.
You know what the kids call it these days, Block? If I could be a little kiddish, if I could be a millennial, a Gen Xer, if you will. They call it
You
some
are
hot
a Gen
goss.
X.
They call it Gen Z then. Call it some hot goss, or they call it tea.
Okay.
This is some crazy goss. This is some incredible tea. Kate Middleton may have had an abortion. Kate Middleton may have had an affair.
This
Prince
is going to
William
seem like
may
a bad,
have
like
been found out, and his pegging penchant has been found out. And by the way, the lady that is apparently doing the pegging, not a bad looking lady named Rose, by the way. Really,
I thought you were going to show a picture of her. No,
I can if you like.
Yeah, get a picture. Here's the thing for me, and I don't want to downplay because obviously I understand that people put them up on a pedestal. I've always been very anti-royal family because just because you were born into something, in my opinion, doesn't make you any better than anybody else. And so that's sort of my stance on it, Dean. And I know you've got parents that live there. Weren't you born there? And then
yeah, dude. Yeah, my parents.
So
dude. And they don't give a shit about the royal family either. But they were very upset when Queenie passed. Very upset.
Well, I think that was sort of I think it's going to go downhill from there. I think the Queen was holding that whole thing together, and I don't necessarily think that King Charles is going to endear himself to, if he ever has. He's a bit of a dick, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, they can all go away. I mean, this is just an example of the lunacy of that kind of fame and too much freaking time on your hands. Dude, let's see the pegger.
Yeah, I'll show you the pegger in just a second, but I want to play you this video of this guy. He's like a reporter.
It's not a pegging video.
No, I can't show the pegging videos here. I've never watched one, nor will I, by the way. I was wedgied once. I'm against it. But I want to play this video. This is a reporter who says he's put it all together, and it's fascinating.
Oh shit, it's all starting to come out now. Allegedly, Kate Middleton may have been pregnant with Thomas Kingston's baby. To make matters worse, Thomas Kingston was found dead just a few days ago, locked inside a room at his parents' apartment with a traumatic head injury. For those that don't know, Thomas was in a relationship with Kate's sister Pip Middleton for quite some time. And he stayed in contact with Kate ever since. Even recent WhatsApp messages have been leaked showing Thomas was sending her messages wishing her a speedy recovery in terms of her stomach issues. But did Kate fall pregnant with Thomas's baby, and did she refuse to have an abortion after having 3 children? And then did someone forcibly remove the pregnancy?
Good Lord.
Again, it's allegedly. The longer the Buckingham Palace stays silent on this issue, the more speculation is going to run riot. And Kate hasn't been seen since Christmas Day. Ooh. Something is clearly fucking going on here. He was blatantly murdered. She hasn't been seen since December. There's something going on. Surely there's something going on. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, I will keep you up to date, for fuck's sake.
See, that's where you lose me. I mean, I don't mind having a conversation about this kind of stuff but I'm not. It does not change the course of my day. What those idiots are doing.
No, me neither. But it sure is funny, right? When they start having these conversations in public, and if there's anything that I love more than a British guy going "fuck me," I've yet to find it.
They swear so much better.
Oh, dude, the C word coming out of a British guy's mouth or a British woman's mouth—that is unbelievable. Real quick before we let you go. While we're talking about the impending breakup of this royal marriage, we had a reconciliation of sorts. You see the picture that Ron Mclean posted with him and Don Cherry this weekend?
I did, yes. So they got together. Was it Don's birthday or there was a reason behind it? I didn't pay that much attention.
I didn't either, but apparently it was Don's birthday. Ron posted a thing. He's like, "Look at us having cake." And you would not believe the fallout from 2 senior citizens having cake. It's really what that picture was.
I don't understand people's fascination.
People went after Ron on Twitter calling him every name in the book.
I don't
Look
get
at
that.
you trying to rekindle a relationship with Don after screwing him over. Look at you, you piece of shit, you cuck. I hate to, like, I went through his replies after he posted that. Very angry people. Very angry people that are still under the impression that after Sportsnet gave Don and Ron an opportunity to apologize several years ago, for something stupid, innocuous, the cancel culture took and ran with, that Don said, mad that Ron didn't sacrifice his living at the altar of a guy who has said all kinds of awful things in the past.
Well, and you go back and sort of run tape from his 40 years on TV. There were more than a couple of moments where they were like, you know what?
Racist.
You could have maybe written that down as a problem. HR may have had an issue with that one.
Yeah. But I was amazed because it's been years. And
it has been.
Now people just wanted Ron and Don to be happy. Hockey Night in Canada, the longest running show host duo in this country's history.
We talked about this.
All these things. But it is amazing to me. It's amazing how stupid people are, number one, that are like, I still can't believe Ron didn't sacrifice his $1 million salary.
So 2 weeks ago, I got let go from my gig, right? The locker room. And they kept Grant and Jimmy. And I, not a very religious guy, but I'm praying for them. And I'm not even kidding. I'm very worried about my two old co-hosts and what they're going through over there. Not going to get into details. Grant and Jimmy both need the income. And I was hanging out with Jimmy this weekend because we're still really close. One of my best friends, probably will be till I die. And we were having a couple of drinks, and he said that he had to block a bunch of people because they were coming after him for not quitting and throwing himself on the sword when I got let go. And I'm like,
people were sending him messages, shitting on him for not quitting after you got let go.
He's a pretty sensitive kid, and he feels awful for what happened to me. And I'm like, dude, just tell him to contact me, right? And I'll have a conversation with him. It's just wrong.
What do they expect? Like the same group of people? Do they expect everybody to quit with you after you get fired?
Yes, we were a great team, and I miss what we had. And you know what? It's unfortunate that our industry is at this point, and I'm a casualty of it, and I understand it all. I'm trying to move on, but come on, Jimmy. I mean, they pay him dog food wages, legit. Like, he makes next to nothing, and he absolutely has to have that job. And he's not the reason. He did nothing, and should be held accountable for nothing because of my departure. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand why people go there. Yes, we were a great team. Jimmy needs to take care of himself. Grant needs to take care of himself. And I'm going to do what I can to move on. Right? That's the world we live in. I'm not going to hold it against Grant. I'm not going to hold it against Jimmy. We're having a locker room wake. We're having them over on the weekend.
You having Grant and Jimmy over on the weekend for a little locker room?
We're all going to wear black.
Pour one out for the old brand, if you will.
Drink some beverages. Have some pizza.
Attaboy.
Get the dogs together. Grant's got 9 kids, so.
Are you inviting all of Grant and his entire family over too? You're inviting everybody over? You're gonna have
everyone's coming over. We're going to eat pizza and get drunk.
You'll last 40 minutes with all those kids running around. Your Grant and Jimmy will find you in your room watching hockey. 35
or the bathroom,
minutes after
the toilet.
Yeah, that's where I go to hide from kids.
You know what? Listen, it's not Jimmy's fault. And I have the same sort of opinion about Ron. And Ron did what he needed to do, and Don could have apologized and stayed on the show, right? I'd be angry at Don. Yeah. He's the one that dug in.
Thank you. You gave Sportsnet gave Ron and Don a choice: apologize, move on, keep your job and your money. Don't apologize. Don picked don't apologize door. Ron picked apologize door. Whether or not you think they should have apologized or did anything wrong doesn't matter. Y'all work for somebody. They're going to ask for a pound of flesh sometimes.
Yep.
That was the pound of flesh. Ron chose to give it to him. Don didn't. Don doesn't work. Y'all think that Don's the sacrificial lamb. That was his choice. His choice. He could have, and I hate to bring this up for the 7th year in a row, he could have said, okay, do I want the money or do I not want the money? Do I want to say, hey, sorry if what I said was misconstrued. Here's what I meant. That's all he had to do. That's what Ron did. And everybody was like, no, he shouldn't. Just out of principle. So everybody that supports him, you support Don not making any money. That's really dumb. You're really dumb.
I don't understand that logic. Yeah, it's bizarre to me.
Nobody does. Nobody does. Anyway, good to see you. Thanks for doing this today. At Lochlin Cross, follow him on Twitter. You can get everything they do, including the Locker Room Retro Replay at the Locker Room YouTube page. You can go and check that out. He's also got a couple of shirts, which you can buy, including Save Lochlin Cross, which you can get anywhere. I guess he's done. He didn't even want to say goodbye. He just kind of left the screen. Isn't that nice? I like that when people do that. I know their intentions at that point. They want to leave. Anyway, check it out at the Dean Blundell store Square site. You can check it out. You can also go to Crier Media, the Locker Room webpage, Locker Room merch store as well, and check that show. And we've also got a new shirt that says, why can't we all just get along? Seems like it should be a lot easier than it is. Maybe a t-shirt will make the difference. I don't know, but you can support us by buying it. $20. Go to the Dean Blundell merch page, Dean Blundell shop store, or you can go to Crier Media, crier.co as well, and check that out. As always, we are brought to you by our friends at Fact Check, disinformation killing software that is here to destroy lying narratives. Social media, news, anything with a URL, anything you read, see, feel, hear, or touch, pictures, videos, written words, spoken word, even in real time. It's the Shazam of fact checking, and it is going to absolutely destroy certain media outlets. When the people at Fact Check came to us during the Canada Proud lawsuit, Canada Proud, an official agent of the Conservative Party who like to spread misinformation and disinformation as part of their business plan, came to us and said, hey, you got sued. We're developing this software. Can we get to bed together? And I said, yeah, I would really like that. That'd be great. And they said, we've got this beta test. Can you test it? And I said, yeah, I would really love to test it. And all of a sudden, it started telling me that everything that I thought was a lie, including on social media, Twitter, Facebook, etc., including source material, pictures, videos, Israel, Gaza. It puts everything into perspective, and it destroys the narrative that you want destroyed because it is a lie. It only gives you fact-based truth, source truth, and you can join their Fact Check beta testing team today. Go to faktchek.io. factcheck.io. Sign up for their beta test today. You can find yourself a verified fact checker as well. We have positions available. So go to Fact Check and sign up today. Again, faktchek.io. Do you believe? We're also brought to you by our friends at CanTorque, makers of rugged, hard-working torque wrenches for industrial use, and they have been the best in the business around the world for 20 years. Unparalleled expertise, specific requirements, industry expertise. Most cases, they've been there and done that, and they want to be there and do that for you. Tool rentals, calibration, service, repairs, custom fabrication, distribution opportunities. CanTorque offers you a complete range of services and products, making them your one-stop destination for all your bolting needs. For flange, maintenance systems, and impact sockets, you can rely on the highest quality products, which you can check out at their new website, cantorque.com, product services, and also download their new podcast called Talking Torque with Colin Livingston. Good dude, smart guy. He covers a variety of subjects. He also races with the Alex Tagliani race team. So if you're in the market for a torque wrench and you need a bolting solution and can't find one, there's only one group in Canada that does it. Proudly made, manufactured, designed in Canada, cantorque.com. Check them out today. We're also brought to you by Ed's Fine Imports and his luxury branded boxer briefs called Gitch. Branded underwear. Gitch3 is your promo code. Right now, buy 3, get 1 free at checkout. Engineered for any level of performance. Listen, I'm an underwear guy. I need to know that I am taken care of. I need to know that my stuff has a place to hide during the day. I need moisture-wicking fabric. I need barely there, super soft fabric performance that I could run, walk, or sprint through. That is what Gitch is. These underwear will change the game. They already have. Made in Canada by Canadians for Canadians. Pouches bigger. Moisture-wicking action. Luxurious modal. You'll never want to take these things off. I can guarantee it. And right now, you can get a free pair courtesy of us. Gitch3 is your promo code. Put that in at checkout, and you'll get that 4th pair for free. 4 packs, different colors, all kinds of sizes. Guaranteed you will love these boxer briefs, so buy some today. 15% off when you give them your email address on the way out as well. And we're brought to you by Muse Massage Spa. Muse on the Mic is the name of their podcast, and it's very, very, very good. Emily and Riley are going to join us on the show on Monday to talk about sugar daddies and the business of internet sugar daddery. It's a big thing. Anyway, they're going to join us to talk about that, as well as some of the new promotions they've got at Muse, but they take you behind the scenes. They're sexologists, educators, advocates for the sex work industry. Their podcast is called Muse on the Mic, and you need to go and download it. Go and get the Patreon uncensored version as well. Sign up for that. You can check them out at YouTube, Muse on the Mic. But go to their website today and check out their offering, 1290 Finch Avenue West, Muse Massage Spa, musemassagespa.com to schedule and choose your Muse, book a treatment. Start that today. And make sure you give their podcast a sub and a download, including the Patreon one, which is totally uncensored. Nice girls, smart girls. Love having Emily on the show. Riley's going to join us on Monday as well. I have problems with them, good problems. But every time I'm on with them, I'm like, I can't even look. Too hot. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for being part of the show. Thanks to Lochlin. Thanks to Mark Kondrat from AlbertaBeerFestivals.com. Check out his new website today. And we appreciate you joining us for the last hour, right? Giving us your time. You can't get your time back. You can get more stuff, but you can't get more time. So when you give us your time, we really appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye.